Hey, how's it going? Yeah. Okay. So you kidnapped me and you slandered me because you're entitled to do so because you expect for me to pay for you to say that you're providing education to children. You don't have a right to tell me what I can or can't teach them while you're kidnapping me and torturing me for sport that you force your children to watch. Period. You had no right to try to use my Claudia blog for anything having to do with offloading your responsibility to provide your children with safety. If you let somebody else use your children to make an example out of your profligacy for you or as a human shield to try to protect you from the inevitable implications of living the kind of lifestyle that you've lived for all of this time, I can't do anything about that. You should not have hijacked my actual account and put that bullshit little health claim on it so that you could launder money through me that had very profound consequences in other countries. See, there were people that actually were teachers and were actual educators, and they might actually have a legitimate role in the political destiny of their people. But if you're the kind of people that are going to play these games and use children as human shields, you're not my people. And they would have a just cause claim to target you as a threat to their children. At any point in time, any one of you could have been reasonable. You're going to put a preclusion on my list. Why? Because you expected the intended audience to be how old? See, why did you allow for me to get kidnapped and watch you force children onto drugs in order to cover up for how you were using them for weapons deals, kickbacks? We're never going to get past this impasse. So you're just going to have to deal with the consequences. Did you prove something by putting that characterization on there? You did. You did. You did. And that's apparently all that you're willing to accept as the burden of proof you have to remove yourself from the direct line of fire in targeting a terrorist syndicate that uses children as human shields. All right? So now we've got this straight. If you're disappointed because you created some competition and in this swap out of my identity, you chose somebody else and you're expecting me to perform to their advantage, I apologize. You shouldn't have ever supported people trying to force me to consume illegally acquired drugs in front of minor students under threat that I would be put homeless on the street in a foreign country. You should never have done that. And every single day, you've aided and abetted this kind of scheme. That's exactly what you've done. I mean, I think I'm fortunate, right? That I'm in an English speaking country and technically I am an American citizen. So when you force me out on the street because I don't want to watch you bet on children that you force drug or watch you force their parents to make them take drugs in front of me, well, I mean, it's a little different than when it was set up in another country and you guys played along this whole time. I don't think you're going to get your payoff. And your children deserve to know what that means. Your children deserve to know what it means that you were compulsive gamblers and that you were willing to sell them and their futures and their lives because of your drug habit. And if I'm mistaken, then one of you would have had the courage to actually speak to me in person and be like, excuse me, we would never ever support somebody doing that to our children, and we would never ever support somebody doing that to somebody who would have taught our children or did teach our child. None of you have done that. None of you. Grandpas, moms, politicians, members of the security apparatus, none of you have done that. Which means that you are actually the kind of people that are still trying to prove the point. We forced you to take drugs in front of our children. We forced you to take drugs in front of our students that we knew were illegally acquired because we had every intention of making an example out of you. And every single day you succeed. Every single day you succeed. Now, I'm correct. There are two people that were actually teachers and one person who played a teacher on television that are supposed to be acknowledged as legitimate heads of state, right? Now, are you demonstrating people power? Is that what you're doing? Are you showing a government of the people, by the people, and how you are completely, abjectly screwing over your children and their futures, including in the manner in which you treat me? I mean, If that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. But don't make any pretense you're doing anything else, right? Don't pretend it's something else. Because your children are not as stupid as you keep betting on them to be. And that's why you keep fucking losing.